Good day YouTube, this is Dan from CryptoLite, and today we have big updates about why the market had been crashing the last couple of days, as well as quick news on Binance, Playboy, American Express and Lightning Network. So stay tuned for all these news and more. The hot discussion in the crypto space at the moment is why is the market falling? There are a number of potential reasons why the market is falling. The first is there was an announcement by Google a couple of days back that it will be banning cryptocurrency and ICO advertisements from June in 2018 onwards. The reason for their bans is because cryptocurrencies is a service and quoted from them frequently associated with misleading or deceptive promotional practices. But if you read across the various articles on these issues, it seems like their bans will go even beyond the controversial ICOs to include keywords like cryptocurrency wallets, which are actually helpful and protective for people investing in cryptocurrency. So whilst I understand the reason to protect people against scams, I think that this ban is too general and too generic and will actually make it hard for genuine investors to find good resources on the internet. This news is disconcerting, especially after Facebook also announced a similar ban in January of this year, and together Google and YouTube account for over 60 to 70% of advertising on the internet. Now, some people aren't put off by this price and they don't believe that this was the cause of the price drop, and their reasoning is because firstly, no one really looks at Google ads, and in fact it can be a turnoff, which is true. And secondly is there was a delay in price drop, probably suggesting other sources. So this is one of those very popular article that has been suggesting that the Bitcoin drop wasn't because of Google announcement that it was going to ban ads, but rather that is because of a G20 Summit coming next week. And on their article, they put a graph here which shows the price dropping, and this is the the hour that Google made the announcement, and they said, look, the couple of major drops really came, much later. We're talking about 6 hours later, as well as almost 12 hours later. The reason I partially disagree with this article is because the timeline of this graph is hourly, and the small drop was the hour that the news was released. But really, not many people are aware of the major news on the very same hour that it's released, and it's sometimes not until half a day later or even a day later that the price begins to drop significantly, which is exactly what we've seen. We saw the massive drops in prices correlating with the time that people knock off work or waking up across the globe. So in fact, the graph actually reinforces for me that it was the Google ad ban that primarily dropped the price. Also, when Facebook announced their ban in January, the price of crypto dropped by 12% across the market. So surely a similar announcement by Google, who's the world's biggest internet advertiser, will cause just as big, if not bigger, drop, which is what we've seen. And finally, I don't think that the upcoming price drop was because of the G20 Summit as this article suggests, because not many people in the crypto space were aware of the G20 Summit to start with, not enough to account for such a major drop. And it was only today that the agenda for the G20 Summit was released, and it does include cryptocurrency. But look, this article does highlight that there is a G20 summit coming up. For those who don't know what a G20 summit is, it's a big gathering of representatives from the governments, policies makers, major banks, etc. A lot of people didn't really expect one now because the big gathering was actually towards the end of the year. But there is a smaller upcoming meeting next week. The agenda again wasn't really clear until today, and only today it was announced that there will be two separate discussions on cryptocurrency during the summit. The meeting itself will be hosted in Argentina, which is good news because Argentina is cryptocurrency, so I believe. But there will be more talks on regulations, okay, that could potentially then drive the market price down even further, because more and more regulations just mean more and more restrictions and difficulties in getting into blockchain projects. Now, besides these news about the Google ads as well as G20, there are also a few other negative news all happening around the same time, potentially adding fuel to the fire. The first article is India's Hdfc joins the list of banks banning crypto purchases via card. Now, again, we've covered this before in other news. I don't think it's a bad thing, because what is happening is that some people were purchasing cryptocurrencies using their credit cards with money that they don't have. We always say that you only play with cryptocurrency with the money you have, that you can afford to lose, not the money that you pay your house rent with. But people were getting into debt because they were overdrawing money with their credit card. So it's not actually a bad move by the banks in that sense, but it just came at a very bad time, adding fuel to the already very sensitive market. The next piece of news that came out was from Australia, and it was Australian Taxation Office reports scammers collecting Bitcoin on its behalf. And this was followed up in less than 48 hours by the Dutch finance minister, who joins Australia in warning public of cryptocurrency scams. And then to top it all, there was one more article from Investors Business Daily that said that Bitcoin tests 8,000 as European regulators probe cryptocurrency terror links. So a lot of bad news recently, a lot of FUD, and this climate could potentially go into the next week with potentially more new regulations coming out from the G20. We hope not, but it pays to be prepared for the worst. In terms of how the market is doing today, we've kind of broken even and gone flat over the last 24 hours, which is a sign of relief for some of us. Bitcoin is sitting at 8,002, and Bitcoin dominance has gone up to 42.7%. Experts are predicting it will go up to 45%. So we're going to see the altcoins suffer even more over the next week or so if that is to come true. Now, prices are very low, very attractive. Neo's below 70, sitting at 67. Stella's dropped below 25 cents. Ripple sitting at 68 cents. We've seen Ripple very comfortably at $1.15, $1.20 mark. So that's almost 80-90% gain if it goes back there in the short term. Ethereum's dropped to 605, so below 700, which was its resistance point. Where things are sitting with Bitcoin is, even though it's a very attractive price, we've seen that the bottom resistance line or support line for Bitcoin is 8,000. And we've seen the market recently just keep challenging the 8,000 mark again and again and again. So even though it seems really attractive now, I'm a bit hesitant to go in, especially with the potential bad news coming up early next week, because if Bitcoin was to go below the 8,000 point, the next major line of support is 6,004, and we did see that happen at about a month ago. So if it dips below 8,000, it's going to be a very steep and hard drop. So while it's playing around this 8,000 mark, I'm not really keen to get into the market at the moment. The last possibility from my own thinking about what could potentially be causing the market crash, and this is not from the news, it's just my own speculation, is the possibility of a whale. A whale in the market is like a ninja. Oftentimes you don't know they're acting until sometime later. Sometimes you never know that they were acting. They don't crash the market without any catalyst. Usually they jump on a reason for a market dump, like any of the news above, and then they exaggerate the crash by dumping the coins at the same time. We've seen that with the Mt. Gox trustee last week, that he may still be selling his coins, that there may be other whales besides him manipulating the market, but whales are a very real thing at this point. And one thing I find very, very hard to explain, for that maybe can only be explained with the possibility of market manipulation, is how does every cryptocurrency fall so nicely and up and down with Bitcoin every time? Shouldn't there be at least a lag in price if Bitcoin falls first and the rest follows? Or shouldn't there be an inverse relationship between Bitcoin and the altcoin, especially if the Bitcoin dominance is going up? But somehow the prices of all the major coins have been moving so synchronously, so nicely, that it's bizarre. I can't really explain it. A couple of days ago, not related to Bitcoin, this related to the stock market, China's Securities Regulation Commission, the CSRC, issued their record penalty for stock market manipulation, and they fined the Xiamen Logistics Group a whopping $900 million. Okay, this is stock market, it's not crypto market. But when I read this, I had like a fist pump, yeah, moment, because I'm so sick of market manipulation, and I just wish that someone with power would stop market manipulation. I would be so glad if they took 900 million off the Mt. Gox trustee now that it was proven that he was market manipulating. Anyway, enough of my rambling. Let's move on to some positive news. The biggest positive news for today is about Lightning Network. Lightning Labs announced their beta release of their highly anticipated Lightning Network, which is a developer-friendly software client used to access Bitcoin's Lightning Network. In addition to the release of the beta version of Lightning Network, Lightning Labs also announced seed financing from some of the biggest names in cryptocurrency and tech. Some of the most notable investors in Lightning Lab now include Square and Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, former PayPal COO David Sachs, and Robinhood co-founder Vlad Tenev. Litecoin creator Charlie Lee participated also in the recent seed financing round as well. So in addition to Bitcoin, the LND beta has also launched with support for Litecoin. So yeah, this is freaking great news in the sea of really bad news. And if we were to look at Bitcoin's performance in terms of its tech, it's doing really well. This is the SegWit chart, and you can see that SegWit's uptake has just been going up and up and up since their recent update and Bitcoin's adoption of them. And also, if you were to look at the Bitcoin's transaction prices, okay, one of the reasons that people stopped using Bitcoin is because towards the end of December and around the start of January, Bitcoin's transaction price was very, very high. At its peak, it cost over $55 USD for every transaction of Bitcoin. So that was ridiculous. It was not usable. But now with SegWit, okay, lowering the transaction fees of Bitcoin, the prices of transaction of Bitcoin have dropped all the way down, to $1.40. So it's at a very low point again, and that's very encouraging because it may mean that we can start to see Bitcoin being used more as a currency again. So really, on the tech side of things, the blockchain world is doing really well. Bitcoin is actually doing really well. It's doing much better than it has for the last or since the start of this year. Every day we see a new blockchain technology being announced. Every day there are new partners. There's new breakthroughs in blockchain technology. And if only all this FUD and market manipulation would stop, we really would see a market bull run. But anyway, for now, as mentioned before, I'm just going to play it safe and not put any more money into the market. None of this is financial advice, just me sharing my thoughts and my personal opinions with you. So please make sure you always do your homework and make your own decisions. Now, another piece of good news, this one's a couple of days old, is that Binance is going to launch its decentralized trading platform. So this is a really great move, and I think it's great because one, it's more secure for us, and secondly, they say that it will be very fast, so it won't have the traditional weakness of decentralized exchanges, which are slower. They say it's going to be very fast, and also it means probably that the Binance token price will go up because it will be used as gas for their new platform. I really believe that the future for crypto exchanges will be decentralized exchanges, and a few years from now, when the speed issue of decentralized exchanges are basically non-existent, and it's already happening now with these new decentralized exchanges, there will be almost no advantage in using a centralized exchange anymore, only disadvantages. So very good on Binance for making this first move. A third piece of good news is American Express patent filing touts blockchain for faster payments. In the patent application released on Thursday, American Express describes using the tech to facilitate payments between two parties by using transaction requests as a proxy. The company further suggests that a blockchain system could improve upon current credit card payment networks. Writing, a payment network based on peer-to-peer payments may be used to facilitate most functions of traditional card payment networks and to enable additional service and functionality. Now, this is not the first time that American Express has expressed interest in blockchain applications. A patent application was released last October, but filed in April, discussed using a blockchain as part of a customer rewards program. At the time of this writing, the filing touted the tech security characteristics as potential boons for a reward system. So this is cool news. It's another step towards mass adoption for crypto. Well, we've had bad news and we've had good news today. Let's end on an interesting piece of news. Playboy to launch its own cryptocurrency, accept others for adult content. So Playboy Enterprises has announced that it is launching its own cryptocurrency as part of an online payment wallet under development. The wallet will service the company's digital media and casual gaming businesses and will accept other cryptocurrencies in addition to its own. The first of the company's platforms to feature the new wallet will be Playboy TV. The wallet will accept Playboy Vice Industry Token, VIT, for access to exclusive content. Customers will pay and earn VIT tokens to view original content. Customers will also be able to comment on and vote for content. Well, I like paid viewership. I'm a fan of paid viewership, but for some reason, I don't think I'll be earning this token. This is interesting news for me. It may be great news for you. The adult industry is a very lucrative business, and we've already seen some pioneer blockchain tokens started. The Vice Industry Token has already, not the Vice, the VIT, okay, the Playboy's Vice Industry Token has already partnered with Penthouse, Extras, Playman, Red Hot TV, Skin Max HD, and others, according to their white paper. So it sounds like they're going to be one of the leading, if not the leading token in the adult industry. So if you think that this project has potential, keep your eyes on it over the next few months. And you can decide if you want to invest in it or not. Alright guys, that's it for me. Happy Friday wherever you are. If you like this video, give us a subscribe and a follow. Every subscribe goes a long way in helping us to build this channel into something awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you tomorrow.